What's up, guys? Hope you're having a great weekend. So in this video, I'm gonna explain to you a little bit about why I am going to church tomorrow, even though I've lived my entire life as an atheist. So first of all, just to get it out the way, for those of you who are wondering, I am currently do not identify as being an atheist anymore. I'm definitely becoming religious, but I would say that I am definitely spiritual and I am willing to embrace religion. That's the point where I'm at right now. So how it all started, I was baptized as a baby in Ukraine, where I was born in Kiev, Ukraine, where it's basically it's predominantly Orthodox Christianity. It's the religion, the tradition, the religion that I was raised in, on my mom's side at least. And yeah, it's very different to the Christianity that is practiced here in Africa. And that has been a big part of why I became an atheist in the first place. As some of you might know, my mom is Ukrainian and my dad is from Botswana in Africa. So even though they're both Christians, or at least by default they were born into it, the religions themselves have got like these silly differences that make certain things quite strange. And like one of those things is like the ways in which that the different religions worship. And in Ukraine it would be considered quite blasphemous to be loud in church and to have any kind of extravagant displays of emotion for any reason whatsoever. I know in Ukraine I remember a very sort of quiet atmosphere. There were lots of idols and lots of pictures, and nobody spoke in church. I remember the whole eating bread, Jesus Christ's flesh, and drinking his blood. Even from a young age, they gave us wine in church in Ukraine, and we always kept our voices down. And in Orthodox Christianity, we always prayed silently. So this is just one reason why a lot of Ukrainians sort of look down on the way that Western religions worship God. So yeah, I mean, in my family, we didn't really ever practice religion. Wasn't a part of my daily life in any way. It didn't affect my daily routine or even conversations. Didn't really ever involve God or Christ. So I don't know. I guess it was never a big thing in my family. And especially after my parents got divorced when I was 8 years old, my mom, whom I was most close to and lived with, has always encouraged me to develop my own beliefs and never tried to persuade me to be religious or to have any kind of faith in any way besides what I come to by myself, what I decide, basically. And so after having been to Africa and visiting the churches here, and obviously I just realized how ridiculous it is that there can be such minor differences within one religion that can cause such big conflicts, basically. And those little differences, if they couldn't agree on that, then surely they can't be right, right? Especially since after that I went in a little bit deeper since I was curious. I went and I studied religious education in school, so I got to realize that there's way more differences as to what people believe in terms of what happens before and after we die, and who's running the show basically, and how to live our lives, what the different values are. So when I discovered that there's not only Christianity, different Christian practices and beliefs, but there's also Hinduism, there's also Islam, there's also Buddhism, and so many others to choose from, I realized that this is definitely a delusion that the world is in, and I began my research on science. I remember as a teenager, I was alone a lot of the time because I'm quite an introverted. I used to sit when I was back in Ukraine now again, and I used to sit like in my room by myself and just be on the internet the whole time because I had internet connection back in 2010. I had really super fast internet, and I remember commenting on religious religious videos and stuff on YouTube as an atheist, like being all like, yeah, you guys can't prove it, nah, nah, and like really taking pleasure in doing that and being the scientific, intelligent one that has rational arguments. So I remember I went through a big phase like that. And during that time, it would be so difficult to convince me in any way. I was like religiously atheistic, which a lot of people are, by the way, still. But there came another time, I guess, during as I got a bit older and I began to be more interested in just spirituality, in the sense of like just discovering, being interested in the occult, being interested in magic, the idea of magic, the idea of psychic abilities and all of that, telepathy and time travel. As all, teenagers get interested in such things, I began my pursuit of spirituality. And also just because having looked into all the abstracts or attempts of science to answer some very important holistic questions about life, and just how badly science has failed at doing so. I went into quantum physics. I went into, the theory of everything and all the string theory, and just trying to understand how it all fits together, because I've always needed to see a bigger picture and see how everything connects. And, it just didn't seem to, religion just seems to be so far from what, so far from discovering the truth, and the ways in which religion sort of did it, it was just not enough. I realized that that's just one way of seeing things, and it's just not enough in order to actually live a life of meaning. So when did this all really shift for me? Was thanks to a man, Jordan Peterson, I must say. I recommend to anybody who is still a little bit confused about religion or their own spirituality, or is very scientific, or if you're an atheist and would like to challenge your beliefs a little bit, and maybe you're sick of living in this God is dead nihilism world that we've created now. And yeah, Jordan Peterson has shown me that it is possible to be both intellectual, rational, and still be spiritual, open-minded, and even religious in a sense. Religion being just the admittance that there is much we do not know. There is a force, or there is something out there that is all-knowing, that we're all connected in some way that we cannot yet explain. We've tried through science, but we have failed. And so that's what I mean by, and then having the different practices, values, rituals, and just ways of thinking that differ based on what you believe in or don't believe in. And so I came to quite a different, unique perspective at this point, which has caused me to completely open myself up to all religions. I perceive it in a way that's beyond language. And I completely, thanks to Jordan Peterson, can now connect and understand that the idea. I must also give credit here to Carl Jung. I don't know whichever way you want to say it. But yeah, it's because I studied Jungian analytical psychology, and then obviously starting off with studying MBTI, and then moving on to reading a lot of his other stuff, and just recognizing just how there's so many different ways of saying one thing, especially when we're explaining things that we understand on more of an unconscious level, and trying to put that out in a way that everybody can understand. So because there's like Jordan Peterson helped me understand as well that there's psychological ways of viewing things, there are theoretical ways of viewing things, religious ways of explaining things, and just so many different languages that exist in different contexts in order to give meaning to what it is that we're describing. So the way I see it now is, even though since my spiritual awakening, basically, which opened me up to the idea that to prayer, first of all, I definitely began to embrace prayer in the sense of when I discovered the law of attraction through Abraham and that Styrian Esther Hicks, the law of attraction, I was pretty much obsessed with that for a long time. And that basically says that we create our own reality, and it teaches in the sense that we are gods. So I then moved on to reading a lot of books by Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God. Do recommend that book. Check it out. There's 8 of them. There's like 8 different books where Neil has conversations with God, but is basically having them with himself. And I'm a big believer in the idea of channeling and the idea of automatic writing, just the wisdom that can be found within that. Because first and foremost, I do believe that we are God. And I also, at the same time, totally believe that we are made in the image of God. To me, those 2 sentences are just 2 different ways of describing the same thing. God, the universe, source energy, Buddha, whichever name you want to give it, those are just the different sounds coming out of our mouths as we move them in different directions. And that's all it is. But the essence, the idea is the same. And the reason now that I'm going to church, finally I'm going to get to that, is that it's all about energy. I've been into the idea of shadow integration, and because I've been so against, I've had this feeling about Christianity and feeling judging people who are Christians because they're quote unquote stupid, or just believe in something because they're afraid of hell, and haven't looked into the subject at all, and maybe can't even vocalize or adequately articulate their beliefs. And now I completely took the other approach, and now I believe that there's no need to articulate your beliefs. Beliefs are beliefs, and they really do affect the way that you live your life. So at the moment, I am definitely transitioning into an energy of desiring to be of service. I believe we are all one. Sounds so cliche, but all is self, and we are the universe. I believe that the universe is within us. We are the universe. Chicken and egg story, doesn't matter which way you want to say it. But the main thing is just the desire to love, and whatever you put out into the universe, you're going to get back to yourself. And feeling so abundant right now in my life, and having my little baby girl, and having all my prayers answered, as Christians would say, I now feel like I am in need to be of service and to live a life with meaning. So yeah, it doesn't matter what church I'm going to go to. I mean, when I visit the East, I'm definitely going to go to Buddhist temples and all that. I mean, I wanted to shave my head sometime last year and pretend to be a Buddhist monk and go get initiated in Japan. But yeah, it's not about that. It's just about the energy with which an amazing person that I met here in the wilderness, that's the Dlomo family, and they invited us to the church that we're going to tomorrow, and they love our baby girl Lotus so much, and they are just such amazing people, and so pure in every way. And I would like to model that in many ways, and embrace that which many people do embrace, and pray for more than just myself, but for others, and enjoy, instead of looking down upon the way that Africans celebrate religion, actually, which is the right way to say it. There's nothing wrong with it. In Ukraine, that's considered blasphemous, whereas here, I think now I've realized that it's actually a beautiful thing to be able to celebrate being alive in a group of people on a Sunday together with so much emotion, so much faith, and so much hope that is positively focused. So yeah, that is the reason why I am going to church tomorrow, and I'm even going to be auditioning for the choir. There's a specific gospel song that that the pastor has sent me to, and also my very former atheistic partner Carl is going to be practicing for church tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys updated. It should be pretty interesting. But yeah, So yeah, guys, just be open-minded, stay balanced, and yeah, and stay real.